What's up people, Alex Mathers here. Thank you for tuning into another video with me today. Now today I wanted to go into the topic of feeling overwhelmed, of feeling burnt out, or at least on the progressive route to being burnt out, and you're not motivated to do things. There are so many overwhelming things in your life that just aren't succeeding for you, and you don't feel that energy, that push, that forward drive to want to do stuff. You just sort of feel slow and annoyed and frustrated and all those other warm and fuzzy negative emotions that lie on one end of that spectrum, which is not a particularly good thing. But we are humans, and yes, life is composed of ups and downs, but we want to minimize these downs, these moments of overwhelm and burnout, and not feeling like you've got that ability to take action on things that need taking action on. And I think a lot of people get hung up on the idea that there's something wrong with you if you feel burnt out, or you feel that you lack motivation, you feel overwhelmed. We often get it misconstrued that it's our fault, there's something wrong with our laziness, our innate lack of excitement for life. But I think it's not about you, it's about where you direct your attention. I want to use this video as a means to highlight the areas of attention we need to be directing ourselves to when we feel overburdened and overwhelmed, and it can be in places that we least suspect. So the first area is in understanding the idea that we need to finish stuff in life in order to feel continued and renewed energy as we move forward. This is something that I always remind myself of whenever I'm flagging. If I'm flagging, I know that I haven't been finishing enough stuff, because when you finish stuff, you get that sense of achievement. You know that you're actually getting things ticked off your list. And if you go too long without finishing things and you build in this habit of not finishing stuff, starting loads of stuff and moving from one thing to the next and never really finishing anything, you start to see yourself as someone who doesn't finish stuff, who doesn't achieve stuff, who doesn't enjoy the small wins in life. And these are really the small little wins, and we need to be filling our lives with small wins and big wins. So that's one side of the diagram here, is the fact that we need to be making sure that we are finishers, that we prioritize finishing the little things in life, and we don't allow even the tiniest things on our to-do lists to fade away into obscurity and not be taken seriously. We need to take finishing seriously. So if you've got an article that you started, make sure you finish it. If you've got something that needs ticking off on that to-do list, make sure it gets done, gets wiped off that list, and that sense of satisfaction that comes with finishing stuff. That is a huge aspect of finding renewed energy and finding the motivation to continue and seeing little results, seeing those small wins. We need to fill our lives with as many cheats effectively through experiencing the joy of the small wins. So get those wins in. The other area we need to focus on in order to move past that sense of burnout, which I think is not really a real thing, and I'll explain that in a second, and that is to think bigger. Think bigger in terms of where you're aiming. So this is about setting targets and identifying things that you want to reach and achieve in life that are interesting, juicy, have a big payoff for you. A lot of times we feel overwhelmed because we've set ourselves these mediocre targets, whether that be, $3,000 earned this month, or I've written 2 articles this month, or whatever it is that you have your eyes set on. If the payoff isn't juicy enough, if the amount of money you're going to be getting from a potential win with a client isn't juicy enough, isn't satisfying enough, you're going to lose that sense of motivation to go for it. I'm not saying that we're all just led by money, but money and a nice juicy amount of income earned for a particular target is going to help, as are other things that will help you get motivated. So aim big, because when you aim big, you will start to amp up the amount of energy you put towards those things. And I think when we feel a sense of burnout is usually accompanied with the fact that we haven't set ourselves juicy enough targets with big enough payoffs. That's why I always make a point, whenever I write down my goals every morning, I write down things that are a stretch to me, that are interesting, that are colorful, that are vivid in my mind, and involve a huge amount, once I achieve those things, of satisfaction, which guide my activities today. So I don't think it's so much about being burnt out because you're exhausted. We can all find endless reserves of energy if we have it in line for something that is worth chasing. So create things in your life that are worth chasing, and then couple that with big actions, because without the big actions, without really committing to being a busy, energetic, productive person who's prolific and is excited about what he does every day, you're not going to see the results that you need to see to know that you are making progress on that journey to those big things. And of course, having big things, juicy things, is going to make it easier to take those bigger actions. So think big in terms of where you're aiming, but also think big in terms of how you act. And don't spend all your day, like I'm often privy to, which is to sit there writing plans for things. Act before you plan. Planning here and there is great, but make sure you're biased towards action, and not only action, big action. Supersede everyone around you by taking those big actions, those risky, well thought out, of course, but big risky actions nevertheless. And you'll start to see more rewards in life. Rewards are accompanied by big actions and vice versa. Do you see what I mean? So it's those big actions that are going to lead to the higher likelihood of getting results from stuff. So if I aim to write 3 articles a week as opposed to 1 every month, I'm going to see more results, especially if I'm biased towards finishing, as I mentioned earlier. And you're going to see more results, more feedback, more comments, more traction, which is going to lead to more results and more of a sense of satisfaction. And then burnout will be eradicated. So burnout and overwhelm can be minimized, if not completely obliterated, by just changing where you direct your focus. So in making sure you finish more things and you are biased towards finishing the small and the large, but also being attentive to focusing your attention towards big juicy goals, big juicy payoffs, big juicy financial payoffs. So rather than aiming for, interesting clients who could pay you a decent sum for a particular project, aim for the big guys who have big money, who are in interesting companies, who are tied to interesting things that fascinate you. So focus on the big guys, focus on big payoffs, and then match up your level of activity, your level of output to those big juicy actions. And you'll find that overwhelm, lack of motivation, and that sense of burnout will just fizzle away. Just you try it, okay? Hope that made sense, guys. Do subscribe if this made sense to you. If you want to hear more like this, hit the like button. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.